this is what INEC has said. INEC is postulating that vote buying is now a crime, and rightly so. It is going the next step to try to see that this becomes the order of the day when it comes to elections. But are you as security agencies, for instance, able to identify when vote buying is perpetrated, either be it directly or through a systemic way? Are you able to identify what vote buying is?
Yeah, like I said, it's a new phenomenon. You have to see somebody committing the act for you to apprehend, and based on reasonable ground that this person is committing this act. Not just based on your figment of your imagination, believe that somebody may, based on mere suspicion. And I think if, like I said earlier, and I stand by my what I said, the electoral officer is primarily in charge with the supervision of election, conducting the election. It is his duty, if he watches anybody seeing that confirm this person is buying a vote or selling vote, saying a vote, buying a vote, he has to allow the police officer to get that person apprehended. Or the police
because it seems you're not really getting the drift of the way, the question that I'm asking you. My question is, if vote buying is systemic, as the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has come out to say, a lot of things, criminal activities and corruption, which we believe that vote buying is part of corruption. If corruption is systemic, as the Vice President has said in many forums that he has attended, and if we're able to identify that vote buying has become systemic, how do you tackle that concern?
Yeah, if it is systemic, then it becomes a collective duty of all Nigerians, because it is systemic. It's now a part of, as if it's a subculture. In that case, it's the duty of every Nigerian to ensure that we curb this menace of this social melee, which is vote buying, which erodes public trust and credibility of our elections. So I think every Nigerian, all of us should be involved in the war against this. Zero tolerance to vote buying, zero tolerance to any corrupt act during the election process, particularly the polling station during the election day. So I think it's everybody's duty, but the INEC officials, everybody, including the party agents, security agencies, and even the electorate themselves, because like I quoted Section 24E of the Constitution, which provides that it's the constitutional duty to every Nigerian citizen to assist security agencies in maintaining of law and order. So every Nigerian citizen is obligated to assist in ensuring that this illegal act is being checkmated or curbed.
Okay, Mr. Alabi, let's look at the elections coming up in 2019. Using the examples of the Ekiti and Osun elections, we saw the deployment of police personnel, I think about 15,000 or thereabout, to the last election. What should we be looking at in terms of preparations for the elections? And indeed, if you could maybe start from the point of view of what should the security agents themselves as individuals, what should be their mindset as they go towards that elections in 2019?
Of course, security agencies, the electoral process starts from like this is now the pre-election now, which is the campaign period, and the election itself, and even post-election, the security agents are normally get involved. But the election proper itself, they make sure that the officers are being deployed in each polling station, and they are being briefed and debriefed. You see, what they call it up, what you say, capacity building. Right now, I know the police is training the officers and men on capacity building to build their capacity on how to, or what is their role during the election. So this capacity building is being carried out in all the states of the Federation, to my best of which I know. And I'm sure officers, by the time they are being posted, even the Police Service Commission too is also collaborating with the Nigerian Police Force to ensure that officers and men who are posted for election duties stand out. They don't get entangled into an issue of politics, or they get themselves insulated. They don't get themselves involved in being influenced by any unscrupulous politician. So I think that process of capacity building is being built, and officers and men of the force and other agencies, I'm sure they're going to make this country proud when the election comes 2019.
Capacity building is going on. The campaign processes are on now, and there still has to be security of lives and property in this period. What's the plan?
Oh, no, the police, this is not the first election the security agencies are conducting in this country. For the since democracy was enthroned in 1999, the police and other security agencies have been conducting, providing security during elections, during campaigns, pre-election, election itself, and even post-election. So I think this is something, and at each election, what they call operational orders have been drawn. The rules of engagement have been given to guide the men, officers and men of the police and other security agencies. That these rules of engagement will guide them. And officers are also made to supervise and superintend so that the officers and men conduct themselves in such a way that they will not do anything that will erode the integrity of the police force or other security agencies. So I think the preparations are being done, men are being trained, and also being given that operational capacity building to ensure that throughout the period of the elections, they will carry out their function effectively and efficiently for the good interest of our democracy and ensure that our electoral process is credible, elections is peaceful, and devoid of any violence or intimidation.
Mr. Alobi, we'll come back to you in just a moment with further questions, but we've got to take a break at this point in time.
Welcome back, Sunrise Daily. Mr. Alobi, I asked a question earlier as regards numbers. We know that in the Ekiti elections, there were about 30,000 deployed. Osun elections, about 15,000 or thereabout. Not too sure the figures, but Ekiti, about 30,000. The question I want to ask is numbers. Does the police have the numbers to deploy for an election that's covering the entire country, save 2 or 3 states?
Yeah, you see, like I said earlier, this is not the first election the police is organizing or conducting and providing security. We had having elections since 1999, and deployment is based on need, security needs. You know, there are some areas we call about flashpoint. Some states that are very flashpoint. Some also so this deployment is based on the need, assessing the situation, security challenges, and the threats that are prevailing in that particular state or area, and that deployment will be predicated on that. So we know our strength is grossly inadequate in the country as compared to the United Nations standard, but then we shall make use of what we have. You know, that we have to be resourceful and make sure we train our men. If the men are actually capable and trained, given the capacity, it doesn't require the number, it's the effectiveness of the men that will actually be, if the men are effective, 2 policemen can be very effective than even if you have 4 lousy policemen. So the point is that the capacity the men have gotten, the training they've gotten, and the commitment they've gotten, and I'm sure with the recent increase in the salaries of officers and men on the Nigerian police, they are now motivated. I think they're not minding that with the strength of the police, that does not match the population of Nigerian population. But I think the police will do everything reasonably that will to make them cover all the police stations and also make sure they are effectively supervised. You see, not only police stations, we do what we call peripheral security too. Apart from the police stations themselves, make sure that men are also deployed for peripheral security to make sure that people comply with the stay-at-home or the restriction of movement order. So apart from the police station, security is also being provided at the periphery. So that's that security agencies like the military, customs, other agencies are being involved to assist in people's security during this election. So not just policemen are involved in elections, other security agencies are being mobilized to be for the security at the various elections. So I think they have, with all this, not only police are being involved, security agencies like the customs, immigration, the prisons, civil defense, and the military. They've all been involved. I think they have been able to have adequate manpower to cover all the polling booths to ensure guarantee safety and peace throughout the election process.
Mr. Lawrence Alobi, former Commissioner of Police in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, amongst others. Thank you so much for your time on Sunrise Daily this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And it's on that note, guys, that we got to wrap it up on Thursday's edition of Sunrise Daily.
Indeed, it has been an exciting one. Hoping that we'll be with you again tomorrow. That's how it's been. I'm Gimba Umar.
I'm Neo Taigbe.
And I'm Ladia Keridoluale. Do have yourselves a pleasant morning.
The views and opinions expressed by guests on this program are those of the maker and do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, and endorsement of Channels Television.